Okay. Look at the wall when you're talking.
I can look at him.
Okay. Arthur?
When I was 15, I...
Can I introduce you first?
Sure.
Okay. Well, for everybody that's watching, we're so happy that you guys tuned in today. I'm so fortunate to have Arthur Mendoza here with me. And a little bit about Arthur for those of you watching for the first time. He established the Actor Circle Theater back in 1985 in Los Angeles. And he's got a curriculum of acting classes based on Stella Adler Technique, who's one of the great icons in acting history. For those of you out there that are tuning in, you definitely want to Google or pick up some books and educate yourself on your career, especially if you want to become successful in your career. A lot of great people learn from Arthur Mendoza and also from Stella Adler out there in the industry that are iconic. And if you don't know who those people are, it's good to always go online and Google them and get a book and educate yourself on your craft. But Arthur has students that are working actors. Some of the working talents that he's had before that he's worked with are Benicio Del Toro, Finola Hughes, Branford Marsalis, Deidre Hall, Salma Hayek, Mark Ruffalo. We've signed some NDAs, so we can't mention all of them, but he is just a encyclopedia of basically how to tap into your unlimited potential as an actor. And he's got a huge heart. I've been to his classes before, and he just gives and gives and gives. And he's really authentic and honest about what's going to help you bring out the best in you of what is going to help you become successful. So, I'm so excited to have Arthur here. Today, he's going to be talking about the start of Arthur Mendoza, where he came from, where he's been, how he got to meet Stella Adler. And then after that, we're going to talk a little bit about Tennessee Williams. So thank you so much for Arthur for taking out your time on Saturday. And I know that the last podcast and video we did, there was so many people that had responded and reached out of what an inspiration you are, how you've helped them, give them an edge in their career and their acting. And we're so grateful to have you here today. So I want to turn it over to you and
thank you.
Yes.
I was always hesitant and almost resistant to do something like this because Stella and I would walk to the theater and she would talk to me, or when I was working with her at her rented home in the Hollywood Hills, and she'd talk to me in a already finished product of my life. She said, when you teach, I said, I'm not going to teach. And she said, when you teach, I said, I'm not going to teach. And we'd go back and forth. And she says, why don't you want to teach? I said, because I believe losers teach. People who can't do it teach. And she smacked me gently. And she said, that's not true. I said, why did you smack me? Well, you called me a loser. I said, no, not you. It's those people that do a TV show or do a couple of commercials. And then they set up their acting schools, or this is how you do these tricks. I always felt that you had to have a plethora, an enormous amount of knowledge to gain the audacity to teach. And before I looked around, I guess I had it, and I had it, and I have it now. It started all when I was like 15 years old. I was dating this young girl from Colton, California, where I live, and her mom owned a flower shop. And we would hang out there, and the flowers that were dead in the back dumpster, I started taking them and doing stuff. And she said, who did this? And I said, they're dead. No, who did you do this? And I said, yeah. She said, these are really good. I said, yeah. And she said, yes. And slowly she started putting me into the flower shop, doing the very, simple things, the cemetery bouquets, and I learned how to do it. So when, unfortunately, she passed away, and I was 16 by then, and I got a car. The big thing was to get a car. Now my brother worked very hard to get his car, but I always sort of got things a little easier. My dad found this car that I liked. It was a '65 Mustang. It was blue, powder blue, and I really liked it. And he redid it, and he jacked it all up with these big wheels, and he brought it home, and I was crying. I said, "It looks awful. I look like one of those, one of those criminals. I don't like this." And my mom said, "Take those tires off." And he said, "But they're really good tires." And I didn't want it. And then I made him jack it down so it was normal. And so he said, "Look, you're going to have to pay for this. You pay $1 a month. You go to the bank and you pay $1 a month, and you're going to pay out. This is a pink slip, and they're going to hold it at the security bank." I said, "Okay, that'll be fun. I can come up with $1." So immediately, my partner in crime was always my grandmother. I adored her, and she adored me. In fact, she got in trouble she had other grandchildren, but I was always in trouble for being the favorite. But she was my partner in crime. So I said, "Grandma, look, I got my car." And she said, "Oh," and I said, "Let's go for a ride." So I took her, we went down cruising down E Street, which is the cruising thing. Everybody went with their friends, and I would go with my grandmother. We'd go to Highland Avenue, get a 31 Flavors, then we would cruise. We would cruise the outside of furniture stores. And I didn't know why we did that. We would always, and it was not like we were going to buy it, but I started becoming, I didn't realize it, I became obsessed with installations. Of seeing how furniture was put together, and I didn't realize I was early set decorating. And so I told my grandmother, "Look, this is my little book." She said, "What little book?" "It's that I got to pay this off." She said, "What? Where?" So the next day we went to Security Bank, and she paid it off. And I went, and my dad said, "Look, I got the pink slip." "Where did you get that from?" I said, "Grandma paid off my car." "Why? What?" And she goes down. He said, "Inez, I was trying to show." "No, I don't want him to have he has no debts. He has no debts." And so that was my whole life. That was my whole life. They were trying to do the right thing, and I'd always come in through the back door or the side door. And so we would go cruising, and we would go to the movies together. I would see these movies that I wanted to see, and sure enough, she'd go, we'd go. And interestingly enough, one of the movies that I saw with my grandmother was Boys in the Band, which is a huge gay movie. And I didn't know what it was. I thought it was about guys in an orchestra. And there we sit, she and I, watching this film turning classic, Boys in the Band. And we just watched it. And I don't know what I thought of it, but years later I thought, oh, holy shit. My grandmother sat there with me and watched Boys in the Band. And we talk about it, and we liked it was in New York, so it was pretty, and the guys were all dressed nice, and they were having fun. And I don't know if I don't think my grandmother really understood it, and Lord knows I didn't. But I would come back to that play later on. In fact, I was at a bar one day in West Hollywood, and I met the guy who played Queenie. And I said, "I know you from Boys in the Band." He said, "How old are you?" I said, I told him, "How old were we?" I said, "I was a kid. My grandmother and I went to see him, Boys in the Band. But it was I said, "I know, my grandmother got me in. We both went in." And I said, "I was so proud of your performance." And he goes, "Yeah, thanks." And I said, "Well, you don't seem very happy about my compliment." He said, "That movie cost me my career. None of us were ever hired because they believed we were those gay men. And one of them was Lucy Arnaz's husband. And they were all so believable and scary and frightening, and New York bigger than life." And I guess that's where I first wanted to be a part of New York. But in that transition to make my dollar a month payment, I went and I wanted to be a florist. I thought I could do this. So I found the biggest flower shop. My mother and I would take the bus and then we go shopping on Highland Avenue. And we always stop by this flower shop just to look. And it had an independent, completely separate from the store. It had a glass triangle, beautiful case, and they would decorate it for holidays. And we would stand there and wait for the, and I would absorb all those colors and how they would change with the seasons. And all my artistic, my artistic palette started there, and it was called Hilton's Flowers. Later on, 16, I called Hilton's Flowers and I said, I would like to learn how to do what you do. He said, well, we're not hiring right now, but we'll have plenty of plants to decorate come Easter, but it's only January. I said, okay. He said, call us closer to Easter. The next week I called him. I said, hi, it's me, Arthur. Yeah. I said, Easter. Well, I just want to know if anything opened up. Not yet. So I called him the next day. Hi, it's me, Arthur. I said, I just wanted to make sure anything opened up. He said, no. 4 days, I called him. Hi, it's me. I said, Arthur, there's nothing open. I know, but I just wanted to make sure if you had a chance. So 4 days, Arthur, come to work. Come to work on Friday after school. And I went and I said, okay. I said, hi, it's me, Arthur. So that was the joke. I was always, hi, it's me, Arthur. And then the husband and wife, and he said, years later, said, you know why I hired you? I said, no, I wanted to eat dinner. You called at 5. You knew I'd eat dinner. Oh, you have to be home to eat dinner at 5. And so I became their protege, and I worked there for years. And they liked me so much, they made room, which had never been done, around my college schedule. Now, they had a son a year older than I think, Bobby. And he and I were great buddies, and we were like partners in crime there. And they had an older man who, David and Nick, would run the flower shop. So the parents sort of saw me and Bobby taking over the flower shop. And I was sent to a symposium in San Jose, and I did it. And I loved flowers, but I didn't love it as much as acting. And they knew that. And I never made it, I never lied to them. But they thought maybe with time I changed my mind. Nobody would, take acting in a college over a job. And they supported me, and they gave me a party when I graduated from UC Riverside. And I kept working until this old professor at UC Riverside, who I adored, nobody else liked him because he was old and crotchety. And he taught a class that nobody cared about. It was the story and history of vaudeville. Now, vaudeville was Broadway. It was they had a whole sheet of certain acts that would go. The opening act, the act before intermission, and then the act before it closed. And there were all these segments of acts that you had to, you came and you became famous. It was famous because Bert Lahr, who was the lion in The Wizard of Oz, during the Depression, he made thousands of dollars, and that was unheard of. And he made a lot of money because he was really funny and really successful. And they did sideshows where they dress up and comedy things and pies in the face, and that was what Broadway was. It's all there was. And he later made the transition into film and got one of the monumental parts of the lion in The Wizard of Oz. And so when these vaudeville movies and plays and Raffaello, they do like moving lights, people moving to kind of make it like movies. They kind of moved to the side, and drama started. But drama started, and they were bigger than life. They were fake. They were people putting their hands on their head when they were upset, and they'd overcry. And there was this group of people that came from Russia, and they were called the Moscow Art Theater. And they had this work that was true, that when they cried, they really cried out of the circumstance. And they thought this master, Stanislavski, was amazing. And so they formed a group, Harold Torman, Lee Strasberg, and Cheryl Crawford. They formed this group and said, all right, we're gonna bring a bunch of actors, some of the best actors, some of the best, supporting actors, and we're gonna form this group, and we're gonna call it the Group Theater. And Stella was a very big star on Broadway at that time. And they invited her and her brother. And Stella agreed to go, and they went to Moscow, and they worked with Stanislavski. Now, it was very hard because, well, Stanislavski spoke Russian, and Stella spoke Yiddish, and so did her brother, and a couple of them spoke Yiddish. But it was easy to understand. And a lot of them were American, and they didn't understand the translation. So I don't know how long they stayed, but they stayed for a bit, and they came back, and then Harold Corman was going to pick the product. He was going to pick the plays that were big enough for the Moscow Art, for the Group Theater. And so they started doing that, and they started implementing this work. And it was Strasberg in charge of the acting element. Strasberg would teach the actors what Stanislavski had taught, sort of funnel it through. And Stella was at these workshops, and she said, no, this isn't right. This isn't the right thing. There was one pivotal exercise that Stella thought that Stanislavski got wrong, and that was emotional memory. He wanted Stella to think back on her past when things were horrible, or when she was a child. And she said, I don't want to do that. That's not what he said. And he said, yes, he did. And she said, I'm gone. And she went to find out, this was years later, and this is when Stanislavski was ailing, and he lived in Paris and dying in Paris. And Stella went there and met with him for 8 weeks and went over the technique and went over and had a stenographer that was in Russian and a stenographer was in English, and went over the technique over and over to implement acting into the American world. And so she did take that one exercise that Strasberg misunderstood. She asked Stanislavski about the emotional memory. She said, yeah, we tried that, it doesn't work. The emotional mind, the sane emotional mind, cannot be in two places at once. And that's where it all fell apart. I was taking those, and I was like, I can't do this. I wasn't molested. No priest beat me. My father didn't beat me. I had no pain to call from. I'm sitting there putting stick pins through parakeet's head and nothing worked. I don't like birds, so I was like, what am I going to, and I like pinching myself, and I said, I can't act. And I just thought, I'm screwed. And then I found this other way of working. I was at UC Riverside, and that's where I got my BA degree. I wasn't a big hit at UC Riverside. I did tiny little parts. And then on my senior year, I was asked to leave. And I said, well, you sit there in the four gods of the theater department there. And they said, we respect your love for this craft. We just don't think it's for you. And I said, oh, okay. So we're going to transfer you over to humanities. And no. They said, no. What do you mean no? I'm not going to leave. Arthur, you're not going to be cast. None of the directors want to cast you. I said, okay. What do you mean, okay? I said, how many of us are in the department? He said, there's 30. What number am I? You're 30. There's only one way to go, huh? And they all laughed, and Eric laughed, and Eric said, I'll take him. And they looked at Eric like he had betrayed the unified movement. He said, I'll take him. And they, do you understand you could only take Eric's classes for the next year? All of them. Only Eric. Movement, Shakespeare, just Eric, over and over. And Monroe Littman will take you as well. But that's it. I said, okay. And I did it. And I, it didn't mean I earned this by catharsis, this great work ethic. One of the first monologues Eric assigned me in Shakespeare was Romeo and Juliet. And he asked me to do this great speech of Benvolio, when Benvolio comes before the Duke and he said, look, this is what happened, this is what happened. But there's a misunderstanding about who killed who. And I did it, and it was okay. He said, Eric, that's interesting. He started talking about, you know, the sequence and the images. And he said, let's talk about the part where Benvolio has problems with his parents at the end of the play. What do you think about that? I said, well, I think, you know, Benvolio had some good points, but it was good that he listened to his dad. Eric said, Arthur, there are no parents of Benvolio in Romeo and Juliet. You memorized his speech, didn't you? I said, yes. Read the play. I want to see it again next week. Busted. So the word lazy, no student I have, and some come close, but the definition of lazy, Arthur Mendoza, you know, college picture was there. And I don't know how it all happened, but somehow it all turned around. And I don't remember the day, but I was middle, you know, I never felt picked at anything. You know, I danced and stuff, but I was a good dancer and I could lift all the girls, and, you know, the little Queenie dancers in front couldn't lift stuff. I was in the back lifting the girls. And Monroe Littman, I was walking, hey, Arthur, come here. I said, hey, Monroe. What are you gonna do after graduation? I said, go to New York. I'm gonna go to LA and try to. Well, you ever think about graduate school? No more school. I can't do any more school. I'm done. I've wrote every paper. I've done. I can't. I said, well, I have a friend of mine at UC San Diego, and they're about to change San Diego into the La Jolla Playhouse and try to, you know, they're gonna house it there, and there'll be some interesting possibilities. He said, no, I don't want to go. And he said, would you just try and audition, see if you get in? And I wanted to get into Juilliard. The only place I would go for any kind of schooling after, I want to go to Juilliard. Alan Schneider was in Juilliard, he was a famous director. I knew about him, and it was New York. Once you were in New York, all the students would eventually get work on Broadway. And so there was a League of Professional Actor Training School, and they were always in San Francisco. They have some in Chicago, some in somewhere else, but the 3 times. And I was going up to San Francisco to audition for Juilliard. So I had my audition all set up, and I flew up there, had a hotel room across the street, and I got there early, and I was stretching and stuff. And North Carolina said, are you here for us? I said, no, I'm here for Juilliard. Would you like to audition for us? I said, but just, you know, you can warm up. I said, all right. So I auditioned for them. Then ACTC, you want to audition for us? When ACT. So I started auditioning for all these people because I had time before Juilliard. So I auditioned for all these places and did Juilliard, and then went back home. And I had auditioned for Chorus Line, the road tour. So I got called back, and I was going to, you had to go into the Amundsen Theater for, I was one of 9,000 called back. And my mom gave me this mail, and she said, here, read this, you got your mail. So I took the mail, and I'm stretching in the hallway, and I'm opening up all of these acceptance letters from SMU, North Carolina. I was accepted all these graduate schools. And I went, there's got to be a mistake. And the one letter, the last one, was Juilliard, and they were saying there was no place for me there, but they would like me to audition next year. My heart was broken. And that's the only time I've ever cried. I cried twice. When I lost Torch Song Trilogy for the third time, and when I lost Juilliard. And I really cried. I let them get to me. And I said I'd never let them get to me. I would never let the industry, I would never let the body of people that judge me, I'd never let them make me cry. I was crying. Because I saw my whole life in Juilliard. I was going to dance on Broadway, meet Bob Fosse. I mean, I had my whole life in my imagination. And so I didn't want to go to any of these graduate schools. And so I didn't answer any of them. And I'm at work at the flower shop, which you never were allowed to get personal phone calls. And with my mom and my sister, there's a man and he's got to talk to Arthur. Can he get this phone call? And David said, sure. And to make a call, and it was UC San Diego. And they said, hey, Arthur. I said, hi. We haven't heard a return letter from you. I said, no, I don't know if I want. What did you understand the letter? I said, kind of. Well, let me repeat it to you. You will get full scholarship for 3.5 years. You will get lodging paid for. You'll get a food stipend on a card. And you don't have to teach. Most graduate students teach. You don't have to teach except to study. Does that appeal to you? I said, oh, and by the way, we think you'll be very happy with who's coming to teach for it. I can't tell you now, but you just have to trust me. All right. So I signed the paper and I went. So I get to UC San Diego, and there's Alan Schneider. He was leaving Juilliard, the man I wanted to study with. And I went, damn. Every time I allowed the fates to carry me, and I didn't get in there and screw it up, it worked out. And I worked with Alan Schneider for 3.5 years. And then we have to go on an internship on the 2.5 year. And of course, I'm already, trying to screw stuff up. Evita was in town. They were doing, national tour auditions. So I went to the audition. I got a call back. I told one of the girls in class, I said, I'm going to the callback next. What about your scholarship? No, I'll get out of it. And so Alan called me and said, hey, I said, congratulations. I said, on what? We got a callback for Evita for. Are you having second thoughts? Yeah. See you Monday. I said, all right. And I didn't do it, I was going to do check. I was going to go to the world. Every time I had that big dream that I knew what I was doing, the door slammed me, go, stop. And I got an introduction letter, and I went to New York and met Stella. And we fought, and I walked in with my long curly hair, and people were working. And the girl, you can't go in there. I walked in and said, hello. And everybody was just like, this is my letter. I'm here to see you. Alan Schneider sent me. And she told, sit down while I deal with this rude boy. What's your name? Said Arthur Mendoza. Do you have anything prepared? I said, yeah, I got 2 Strindberg, 2 Williams, and 4 Shakespeare's. What do you got? Hamlet, Romeo. Let's see Romeo. So I said, all right. So, and they said, stop. You're horrible. And I said, it didn't get started. Yes, you've already destroyed it. And I said, let's start again. Now, what are you doing? What do you mean? What are you doing? I said, I'm waiting for Juliet. Do you know she's coming? Yeah, is a play. No, the play, you don't read the play. The play doesn't tell you. The dialogue does. The plays does. Are you at a cafe? No. Where are you? I'm on a tree. Okay, so you're on a tree. How long have you been there? I don't know. Well, if you've been there a while, it'd be better than if you just got there. So you're sitting there in a tree, and then what happens? I said, I don't know. No, you don't know she's gonna come out. Well, what am I doing here then? You're hoping she comes out. Before she comes out, you say but soft. What does but soft mean in your word? What would you say? What the hell? There it is. What the hell? It's what the hell. Then what do you say? What light? So you see a light, right? You say, what the hell? There's a light, right? And I say that. That's all you do. You don't know Juliet's coming out. And then it is Juliet, and music is the sun, because she's so beautiful and bright. You compare her to the sun, but it's nighttime. Do you know it's nighttime? Because you're about to tell us it's nighttime. Because you're about to compare her to Diana. And Diana's in the moon, the goddess of love. And you're about to tell her that Juliet is more beautiful than Diana. And you're about to tell us that what the temperature is. Because you're going to say it's green and cloudy. That means it's a moon, but it's cloudy. No, it's cloudy because Diana is in competition with Juliet. She gets upset and makes herself cloudy because Juliet is coming out. And the moon goes away when the sun comes out, doesn't it? Damn. And I went through the whole, and then I just lifted. And she came and kissed me on the cheek. And she said, you and I will be together for the rest of our life. I said, no, I'm back in 2 weeks. She said, no, you won't. I said, I got to go back. No, I said, I got to go back. And she pulled my hair. And I'm like standing there. And she said, this is a Mexican Latino man born from the Mayan of the Incas. I'm a Jewish broad from Odessa. I have no right to talk to him like this. She said, how do you feel, darling? I said, well, I know I'm from Incas and Mayans, but I'm still kind of, she said, go sit down. And we began. And I worked with her. And I left. She was angry, of course. And then cut to a lot, like a year later, she would never come to LA because she hated the actors in LA and movies. She didn't call them actors. She called them models. And a big variety. I got variety. Adler comes to Los Angeles. She turns her attention towards the untalented. And so I saw it, and she was going to audition at a little theater on Santa Monica Boulevard. I took a friend of mine. We came in and had lunch. I said, we'll have lunch and we'll see if I can do this. And I got mine at 198, I said, all right, you have to wait. I said, I'm not going to wait here. I got 198, I'm going to go have some lunch and I'll come back. Well, you can't. If you get your number, you can't go in. I said, all right, I'm going to risk it. I came back. There were 143. And that woman who I wound up fighting with my whole entire life at the conservatory. I won't even mention her name. She made me so angry. But I got there and I said, so they finally got to my number. Me and my friend were having showed outside. We got to go in. So I went in, and Arthur Mendoza, and she turned to me and she stood up and oh my God, darling, I thought you were lost to me. And here I am. And I hugged her. She kissed me. And behind her, I looking at that woman went, and she said, put him in the advanced, leave him alone, Irene. Put him in the advanced class. So there I was. I was back working for Stella. And then I started doing research for her because a lot of the pretty actors don't know how to use the libraries. I knew how to use the libraries at UCLA, so I knew how to get. It was so funny because she taught text analysis and she told you the place you were going to study. And she would prepare like new every single time. I said, just take your old notes. I can't take my old notes. And I went, why? And so I'd have to go get all these, at least the next year I'd keep them and go, okay, I could go there faster. But she would have to prepare almost like a ritual for each class, Someone told me, because I in technique I teach, there's a speech, Orpheus Descending by Tennessee Williams. And someone said, Jenny said, aren't you tired of seeing that? I said, Jenny, I'd be tired if I saw the same guy 4,000 times. But every time I get something. a guy made a joke in the middle of it, and it worked. I would have never seen that joke had that kid not done it. I can't cut corners. I cut corners for him, and I cut corners for me too. So I can't cut corners. So that started with Stella. I was taking class, and then she asked me to teach for her, but I wanted exposure to some of those records, and she wouldn't admit it to there being any. And I said, I bet there is. I said, I can't teach for you unless I can see some proof of these records. What I'm going to say, oh, Stella told me, that's what I'm going to teach you. I can't teach that way. I've got to teach from the foundation. The hardest thing for me to ever do, I was your best student in the world if you knew what you were doing. Eric, I was, well, you know, after we got through the lazy stuff, I was a good student if you could answer my questions. But if I saw the slightest inkling of weakness or that you were indifference or you weren't sure, I was at you until I broke it. And I never found that with Stella. I never found she had an ability to challenge you. And I believe I challenge actors. The level is much different. It's not that the level is lower now. The level is less disciplined. So it's harder to find people as ambitious and as hungry for the true work. But there still are. There still are people that are hungry. I find them.
Can you talk a little bit about the less disciplined people and what you're seeing in 2018?
Can I ask you, what is that little thing he's got? What is that? What is that?
My phone.
What is that called?
iPhone.
Yeah, iPhone. That's killing everything. I won't let those in my class. They want to be in there doing that. At times I'll ask them to look something up because we don't have time to go to the library. Those iPhones are killing you. Your daughter doesn't have to, if you're talking about a smooth ripple on the Mississippi River, she doesn't have, she could just look it up and here it is. You know, one of my brother's friend's child, they were talking about some singing star. Yeah, I've seen him in concert. Where? Oh yeah, I saw him on you. They think a concert is seeing them on their phone. They've seen the concert. That's not the concert. That's not the concert. It's something else. I mean, they've seen the music, but that's not the concert. There is a laziness that we have allowed ourselves. This is another great story. We lived right down the street from my grandmother and grandfather. I mean, when my mother got married to my father, she got married first, and my grandfather had all these properties. And for their wedding gift, they were allowed to pick one of these properties. And of course, my mother picked the one closest to my grandmother. So we lived a half a block from my grandmother. And I stayed there at my grandmother's until the last possible moment. And then she'd call, and then they'd have to walk me a half a block. But I was 8 years old. And they were so worried about that. They'd have to meet my grandmother, and they'd hand me off, and then I'd go home. But there was this intersection of 4 streets. One was a cul-de-sac. It wasn't even a street where my grandmother lived. But there was a darkness, a pitch darkness. This was before cities, and it was dark there. So they went before the city council, and they didn't do crap for South Colton, where all the Mexicans lived. It was harder to even get sidewalks. And my father and other men fought for sidewalks, and we finally got sidewalks. But there was a triad of all these 4 streets, and they talked to the city council to put a light, and they got it. So we could go outside with my grandmother with this light at dusk and hear stories rather than, using those iPod things. So it was those stories were amazing, and that's where I learned that storytelling. I heard all these stories, and some of them were spooky. There was one story. We had a canal.
Did she just make these stories up?
No. These were real story.
Yeah.
Real story.
Like stories
of how they would. They used to, they used to wash clothes without washing machine. They would like big tubs, and they and there were these big tubs.
Yeah.
Now, by the time I was born, my grandmother had an electric washing machine, but it was a washing machine, but you had to put the clothes through there to
kind of like a wash.
to push all the water out.
Yeah.
Then you had to do it, push, and they say don't leave it alone. Of course, I wanted to put. I thought if you put more clothes through there, but what it did, it locked it, and it would eventually break it. I broke 3 of them.
Yeah.
So they stopped leaving me in the room. They'd lock me when I want to go in.
Out of the room, so
I couldn't get in there. But I would try, and there were like 6 things, and it would be all tore up.
Right.
But I got away with those things because I almost died when I was 2. I had internal measles, and I almost died, and I made it. And my dad was at the hospital. They couldn't see me. They put in a big tub of ice to break the fever. And he sat there with banana and stuck banana down my mouth. And the doctor said, I'm going to put a little gauze of cotton. And if you take that off and you can see a little drop of yellow, that means his kidneys have started again. Call the nurse immediately. So he banned my dad. No sisters, no nothing. My mom, no. He said, stay downstairs. I'm gonna because I looked really bad. My brother. If I want to make my brother cry, I can ask him how I looked in my bed when he saw me, and he goes, "Don't talk about that." I think he's like over it now, but I looked like those kids that starved from Bangladesh. There was no meat on me, just nothing. You could see the rib cage, and so he said, and he said, so he called the doctor. The doctor came in and said, Henry, he's had a dangerous fever for over a week. Even if he's going to be a vegetable. He said, bullshit. My dad, he said, look, hold him. And my head rolled. And he held my head and shook it. Stop it. And I stopped it and I started crying. And I held my head up. He willed me. He scared the shit out of me. So I was always like if I did something bad, all I had to do was stand in the middle of the linoleum floor and pee and cry. And then they had to pick it up. I learned a way of working it. I don't ever remember myself being, I was punished once. I don't know what I did. It must have been bad. And my mom said, go to your bedroom till your father comes home. So I was there. I heard him and they hear, where is he? And he goes, what did you do? And I told him what I did. To put on your pants. Put my little elbows on the bed. I said, Daddy, just remember, like when I was 2 and I almost died, maybe my spine isn't hard enough to take my spanking, but you go ahead. And he started crying. You tell your mother I hit you. I said, okay, whatever. Did your father hit you? Yeah. I was just, and then I almost burned down the house. I was always decorating. There were these big snakes that you got at the orange show, and they were stuffed, and we won one. And I wanted to wrap it around the light. Well, the raw light started, and then I didn't know what to do, and so I threw it in the closet. And they started, I'm going to bed. They're looking, why is he going? And they started smelling the smoldering smoke. I threw it in the laundry closet, and it was like, and I still didn't get spanked. And my brother would sit there going, what's up?
Yeah.
How can he get? I got away with murder, almost, but it was a.
Well, you were talking about the stories with your grandma. And
yeah.
The fact that, a lot of people aren't experiencing and feeling life because they're so, like you said, they go to the phone.
Yeah.
They think that's it.
I can travel. Colton is a city between here and Palm Springs. It's San Bernardino and Riverside, and Colton's in between. I can go right now to a restaurant that my mother and father went when they were dating. And I knew that, I knew all those stories. I knew about where I came from. So when you hear certain members of our government calling my people whores, pigs, and it's hard because my grandmother came to this country in 1902, and she came on a wooden cart, and she was little. So what they did is they put blankets around her, and they tied them with string so she wouldn't fall off. And they put the Virgin of Guadalupe inside with her, so the weight would keep her. And I have the Virgin of Guadalupe in my living room. Those things mean something, and that heritage and that authenticity. You know, people say, well, one of the reasons I gave up on, I went to Paramount, and this woman said, you know, this is a Mexican part. I said, yeah. Are you Mexican? She said, yeah. You don't look Mexican. I said, oh, you're used to the short little guys that bust your tables and wash your cars? Well, no, I said, I'm out. I can't do this. Thank you. And I called my agent and said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. What am I supposed to do? I get my pot of beans and my serape out of the trunk? Their vision of Mexican, I can't do. I don't know if I can. I won't do it. Their narrow vision of, you know, I see guys that I was auditioning with, and now they're doing, you know, parts on TV shows. And I think, what if I would have? But a student who I adore, have been through a lot of turmoils and turbulence and troubles in my last 5 years. And he said, had you not gone through all those troubles, you would have never have met me. And at first I thought that was arrogant, but then I thought it was absolutely truthful. In the grand scheme of things, I do believe in God, but I also believe in time and placement. And I believe you have to be ready and in the right place for what's going to come to you. And I don't think it's luck. I just don't think it's luck. I think it has to do with being prepared, being patient, and being able to receive. Those are the big things that I think. I was never patient. I got kicked out of so many classes. I got kicked out of a class with Bob Fosse at Lincoln Center because I was impatient and arrogant. And I never knew who he was. You know, short little man with a record. But thanks to the faith in God, He has allowed me to be patient at just the right time. I never knew what I was going to do. I never knew.
One question before you move on to another topic. With the prepared and the patient and the at the right time, because you know we all live in this microwave on-demand society where everything's at a fingertip, everything's at a button.
Yeah.
I don't know that people have patience. I mean, if you were talking to somebody right now that's just looking at the industry of acting,
yeah,
what advice would you give them on how could they look at that from a different perspective of I want it now, I want it now, I want it now? Because I don't know that they're open to receive because they're
right. But that's the horror of what I have to teach is I can meet people. I met an actor who was serendipitously put in my path deliberately, and he knew it and I knew it, and yet he couldn't receive it. I put him in one of my projects, and the moment he was off again. There's this, McDonald's makes you believe you can order 5 things and call it a meal because you can do it while you're moving. Does that make sense? They have convinced you When I was driving, I saw the most amazing thing I'll never forget. It was a woman, a pretty girl, driving with her elbow, drinking coffee and doing her eyelash makeup at the same time. Her elbow. And I thought, oh my God. Great story. Stella and I went to lunch. I would take her I would run her on her errand. Went to lunch. Beautiful restaurant, very high-end restaurant. We went there. It was beautiful with all these, beautiful pines and beautiful ferns, and it was gorgeous. And we walked there, and I said, "Can we have a table?" And she walked in, and she saw, I don't think she was working the room. I think she was looking at her circumstance. And this one particular table of 4 men captured her eye, and I went, "Oh no." So we kept walking and said, "Good, deflect. We got a deflection." So we went down, we had dinner, lunch, and they were still there. And they were all talking on their phones and stuff. And I said, "Okay, Stella." And she said, "Just a minute." I said, "Oh, we almost made it." And she said, "Excuse me, gentlemen. I'm Stella Adler. Do you know who I am?" I said, "Well, yes. I've traveled to Europe, around the world. Paris, England. I have never seen 4 men eat like pigs and animals in my life. Congratulations, you're the first." And I went, what I'm worried about is she makes a clean break and I get my ass kicked. And I thought, I've got the little tennis shorts on. Maybe they'll feel sorry for me. I said, "Okay, Stella." She said, "Have a good afternoon." I said, "Let's just get out." And everybody was like, because they were in their leg. Oh, they have shorts on. Their leg over. They were eating with one. They had the phones, and they were the script. They were in the deals. And I don't know how I made it out of there alive, without getting a punch. And why'd you let her do this? And there were these moments. It's like I took her to. I could not say this, but I'm going to. She's not alive anymore. And one of my jobs was to take her to the dressmaker. Then we go get the fabric. She'd pick up the fabric, and then we go take her to the dressmaker. So I had the fabric. I had the artist, and we went to the dressmaker. Then she'd go in. I'd be sitting outside with a coffee or whatever they give me. And I'm sitting there. She says, "Darling," and I said, "Yes, Stella, come in." And I said, and she was standing there naked. I went, "Oh," and she, "Oh, don't look away, darling. It could do you some good." I went, "What do you want, Stella?" "Go get my book." And I said, "Here it is." "Why are you looking away?" "I'm a woman." I said, "I know, and I'm a boy. I'm just a boy. I feel like a boy, even more of a boy than I'm a boy." And they were all laughing. The seamstresses said, "Well, you can wait for me outside." And I said, "Okay. How do I unlook the look?" And I was just like, "Are you still fidgeting about your moment?" I said, No, I'm fine." "You are. Stop it. You're sweating." I said, "I'm embarrassed. I'm Hispanic." And she says, "Well, keep the bravery and leave the Hispanic outside. Leave the shyness outside." Hundreds of those moments were still hundreds. Yeah. She taught me Tennessee Williams. I was working on a scene, and it was from Mooney's Kid Don't Cry. And she was walking by, I was working on it, and she stopped, and I went, "Oh God, here it goes." I said, "Darling, what are you doing?" I said, "Mooney's Kid Don't Cry, Tennessee." I said, "Yes." She said, "You love him, don't you?" I said, "Yeah, very much." I said, "You must find him." I said, "Stella, he's dead." No, he's not. Go to New Orleans. You will find him in the streets, in the crevices, in the bars, in the restaurants, in the smell of the river. Go to the river. You'll find him. Right. There were a lot of things she said that made absolute no sense.
Yeah.
And then later on, these students, they go, "That's what you meant." And they're those aha moments, Oprah said, those aha moments when you go, this is, and I say, and if I could find a saint, it was on with, I could stay up later and watch it. The Songs of Bernadette, I watched over and over, and my mother said, "This is a good show for you to watch." And the the Immaculate Conception told Bernadette, I cannot promise you a good life in this life, but in the next. And that's what I figured out. I said, I'm not supposed to be able to figure out all this stuff. It's supposed to be for later. And I just have to trust later will happen. And my impatience and my proof, within 5 years, I owned a house with my best friend, Lawrence Fishburne. We owned a house in New Orleans. I owned a house in New Orleans. We split it. He had the back house, I had the front house. And I had it for 12 years. And it was 12 of the happiest years in my life, but much like me, I wanted it to last forever. It's hard for me to understand this is for this amount of time and not for more. I will saturate something and kill it by keeping it along me longer than it's supposed to be. I mean, that's why the rockets, they have boosters and then they go away. They were only supposed to get you to that amount, and they can't go any higher. They got to cut the weight. We're rocket ships. We just want to hold on to all those boosters, and they weigh us down and they'll kill us. The bad thing about our boosters is we can't recognize them. Boosters are love. Boosters are a partner. Boosters are a parent. Boosters are a relationship. You can't recognize those, and nobody can recognize them for you. You must identify those boosters on your own and sit there and let them go. And if you let them go too early, you will trust the capacity in yourself to create more that you need to take you for the rest of the journey. I have downsized considerably in my living space, and it is very hard for me to release some of the things that I have because I use them. But a bright student of mine told me, make this your home for now. A brilliant student of mine gave me a free storage unit. And she said, stop thinking of it as storage unit. Think of it as another room. And so I'm adapting to those two things, and I'm starting to live much more comfortably. But I need all my plays. It's impossible for me to teach another quarter without knowing what play I'm going to use. The student, and I go, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm sorry. I went past Stella and Tennessee Williams.
Well, talk about Tennessee Williams, because I know you said there was a big alignment.
Well, yeah, I mean, she knew that there was something.
But I think the power boosters is a really good, when you talk about, because it's funny because everybody wants to get places fast.
Everybody wants to be comfortable.
Right. But people want results fast.
Yeah, but everybody.
The rocket is a way where you have to know when it's time to let something
right.
go.
But we don't even know what to do with our trash. Right. We don't even know what to do with our trash. Right. We don't know. And if we don't keep anything, that means we're fine. No, that means you're uncommitted. I think those books, I've lived all those books. I don't know if I come from class one day and go, what's the name of that play? What's the name of that play? No, students are supposed to help me keep them cataloged, and they haven't. They've dropped the ball. Right. We do these barters and they drop the ball. I have a 20-hour documentary that I bartered with a student, and she dropped the ball. And I'm not doing that anymore because people drop the ball. I can't make people understand a word as much as I take it. I take a word very, very, very too much, I think. I talked to those nurses. I was in the hospital. I said, no, I'm not going to hide from you. I'm not going to hide from you. You asked me to do this, and I will do it. Go look inside. It's waiting for you. Wow. I said, yeah. I was a dancer, choreographer. choreography. Let me do the choreography. I can do it. Boom, I can do it. Just show me what I got to do, and I'll do it. Tell me the pills I got to take. All right, I'm going to do that. What if I don't take the pills? Who am I shortchanging? Me? Tennessee Williams is, Stella had no idea what she was doing, but I guess she did. Of course she did. But when I started reading, really, truly reading him and understanding so many of the parallels, he was very, very close to his grandparents. And I was very close to my grandparents as well. He was very ostracized, which I was as well. He was very delicate as a child, which I was. He got sick more than I did. I didn't get sick. Once I left high school, I was pretty strong physically, but I'm very clumsy. I still hit things like I have friends that take me to lunch and they'll move all the drinkables far within my reach because I'll spill them. I just do. I'm very clumsy. Correct? I'm clumsy, and it's just that I don't think about it. And now I just push them all the way to the middle of the table because there's a chance that I'll be able to drink them all. And it's because I just don't. And it's not that I'm awkward. I just think I don't know how to slow down. I don't know how to rest, and I don't know how to chill. I'm in vacation right now. It's driving me nuts. I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
I mean, I got this. That's good. I've got this. But Tennessee opened when I went to New Orleans, and my sister-in-law and my brother went there. I had a birthday party there, and they said, "How do you live with this?" And because I'm very, very fastidious about heat, I can't stand any heat. I get in the car, we gotta put air. I can't stand it. I land, and they open the doors, and that humidity starts, and I just it's okay.
I lived in Houston for a little bit, so they used to call the arm.
Yeah.
It was so humid.
Yeah, but it's horrible. It's horrible in New Orleans. Yeah. Horrible. And I walk everywhere in New Orleans. I walk to the gym. I cross the street for the grocery store.
So what was it about New Orleans? I mean, what is it about what Tennessee Williams has written? Because I know you mentioned, you talk about you being so much into the words. What do you feel like Tennessee Williams conveyed within his writing and his words that touched you in a certain way?
There's a word, a phrase that Blanche uses, and I'm paraphrasing. There is only one true sin in this world, and that's deliberate cruelty. When I was a kid, all those reunions and shit, they don't mean the same thing to me. High school wasn't my glory years. High school was something I survived. I put myself in charge of things just so I could have some attention. They wanted me to be a football player. I wasn't a football player. I hated it. I was dancing. I was doing musicals.
Did you play football?
No, they wanted me to because my size. They wanted, come on, just do it for one. I said, I can't hurt somebody, and I can't be hurt, So, and it's fun. I hated football. And now I'm obsessed with the New Orleans Saints. My lawyer, Joe West, he said, "Arthur, you got to." I said, "I can't stand this stuff." I said, "Wait, but you got to figure it out." And then I bought a book on how they have to memorize these plays, and how it all worked. And then I fell in love with one of the shortest damn quarterbacks in the whole party, Drew Brees, and he has to get up on his toes, and he has practices before and after he holds. So that spirit, and I admire him, and I connect with them. First of all, I love underdog. When we go pick a puppy, my brother said, "Don't let him pick." Because, look at this one's got a bent leg. Oh my God, they could not. And it's true, we could not drive past. Like after Christmas and the tree places look like they've been. I would start to. Nobody took that one. Oh my God, no. And then we put Christmas trees. That was another big deal. My brother, he can't pick, and then we'd pick a good one, and then there'd be this jacked up little tree thing, molested little thing, and they'd give it to me, and I decorated it, and I put it was like then Charlie Brown Christmas. I went, that's my story, you know. You put, and then I take some of the decorations. And remember, he's weird. Look at what's he doing, you know, in his room. And then I'd have them flock it. The flocking would take the whole thing over even more.
Yeah.
So I've always been a champion for the underdog, and that's what Tennessee was.
Yeah.
He was a big, and the people who hurt him, I don't know if they knew it deliberately. The people that destroyed him were the critics. They broke his heart.
Yeah.
He was able to give them these.
Why do you feel like they criticized him so much? Well, why did they?
They had an opinion. They're okay.
Yeah.
They're okay. You know, it's like the problem with our country.
Yeah.
I mean, Tiger Woods. He was a great. Why does he got to keep going there? He wants to play, but well, he's never. They always. You got to keep doing that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, damn. We're not happy with one. The moment you're one, then we look at, can you go back? Can you be? I don't understand. I don't understand.
What do you mean by one? We're not happy with one thing or one path? Or...
We are not always satisfied with being marked with excellence one time.
Yeah.
The moment this Phelps boy, poor God bless him, then he came back and he couldn't do it. Something in him was broken. And thank God he went to a therapist and fixed it. And he did it again because he wanted to for his little boy.
Right.
And he did it for all the run. And that guy that was gesticulating in front of him, and he had his earphones, and he knew why he was doing it. And he, you know, at another time in time, he would have got up and started like trying to face him up, and he just sat there. He said, "This is for me. I don't know what that guy's doing. This is for me." I was humiliated for Hillary Clinton when Donald Trump did all that, walking around like an idiot, like a buffoon. Little did we know he would claim to be the buffoon he walked. I mean, he was trying to distract her. You can't distract her. The Secretary of State. You can't. She's got the facts. Now, did she go and move around with him? No. It's hard taking the high road.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you get a nosebleed. But I don't know. This doing all this stuff, I thought like it would make me feel cheap, and it doesn't make me feel cheap because I've read so many of the things that people have said, people that didn't know where I was.
Yeah.
I sit there and I just, oh my God, yes, I remember you. You know, it has been Stella was famous. All you had to say is Stella Adler and people knew. You know, I have trouble with some of my students using her name and not mine because you can say Arthur Mendoza at Stella Adler. I just need the help. You know, I need the recognition right now in my life.
Well, I think what you said about Tennessee Williams, like taking, you know, people have a heart, they love what they do, and then there's always critics and opinions. I mean, even within the career of acting, I mean, how many people they love acting, they want to act, and they get negativity from everybody around them. I mean, how often is it that somebody great in life, you know, they get all these opinions, and then later on people call that person great, the same person they complained about 20 years before, saying that they're revolutionary.
Someone asked me, Arthur, why don't you make more money and teach in a university? I could never teach in those board meetings where we all or when students criticize me. First of all, I cuss too much, and then I throw stuff at people. You know, because how dare you? What's your, you know? When I was working with Stella, when we were taking apart, I remember the seagull, and I said we were taking apart, and she said, "Okay." I said, "So, do you want to know what?" I said, "Do you want to know what I think?" No. I said, why? She said, what's your education? What's your background? There is nothing you could possibly come up with your meager background and exposure and education that would mean the slightest thing to me. And you just kind of go, you just go, okay.
Maybe instead of a school system.
Okay.
Maybe instead of a school system where we all follow the rules.
But I could. There's a guy.
I'm just saying there should be schools where people give you opinions all day long. To understand how to deal with.
Right. How to deal with. Right. There's a guy who I can't mention. He's in my class and I adore him. He's like, come here.
Why are you eating a spinach salad?
Yeah.
Spinach is horrible.
Give me this. Give me your book. I said, here's an A. That you got this A for the rest of our stay together. Look at that whenever you start freaking out.
I think people get attached to the A and not to the growth.
You know?
And that's what happens these days. Like there's conditioning with parents and people. I see people come into your class and kids want to get like a good grade and they want to please their parents.
What the hell does that mean to me?
Are they really learning? Like, did the parents really learn? Or
no. I asked every
attached to a grade. Like
some of the students, I say, what did your mother dream? What did she want to do? I don't know. What did your dad want to do? I can't be in relationship.
Maybe the question is, were their parents alive?
Well, it's hard for me to be around people that don't dream.
Yeah.
They're freaks. I'm a freak. All of Tennessee Williams' poems are about little freaks. I'd rather be in a room full of freaks than a room full of models. Yeah. I lied, but for most time, for certain purposes. But I understand freaks more.
You never heard someone say, "Stop dreaming." Like come back to reality.
No, buddy. Oh, but yes, I've heard. There is one force.
Maybe we should go over some quotes.
No. There's one force in my life. Every time I wanted to step forward, there was fear in him. He just wanted to protect me. His love always wants to protect me.
Maybe the question is, what are they trying to protect people from?
That's physiological. I don't know that. I know that this man loves me more than any other human could.
Yeah.
But I've never broken one thing. I'm surprised. I just laid out on as a dancer. I was always bummed. Why did you do that? I know. Let's try it again. I was always like tearing skin up. Yeah. Doesn't that hurt? Now it does because you pointed it out.
Right.
Every time. Don't do that. Get some knee pads. Okay, here I am in the knee pads. It was like, but you know what I did buy at Home Depot?
What?
I bought these pads. It's hard to like wash my floor with it. They hurt. So I bought the knee pads, the ones that the guys work with.
Yeah.
And I wear them and but then I got to back up. It's like all kinds of problems. But at least I can mop my own floor now.
Yeah.
Because it's the fear. It's the fear. And I don't know how to, you just want to be with someone that's 22 years old. No, that's not true. I want to be with somebody who says, this is what I do. This is how I risk. Watch me. You want to hang on? Yeah. Oh, well, you've never let anybody, there's never been any room. There's a lot of room. I got a lot of room. But I need someone who says, this is what I love to do. You want to watch or you want to get on? I want to learn if they are a gardener. As long as they love, I want people that love doing what they do.
Let's talk, because dreams, like everybody has their perspective and opinion on you follow your dreams, you live your dreams, but dreams have to do with the imagination.
That's exactly it.
I know that you talk about somebody using your imagination, and I heard this amazing story or quote or whatever. They were talking about the fact that if you go on a cliff and you're looking out at the ocean, let's just say you're right on the edge of the ocean, you can only see so far. But until you move forward, you then start to see another. I think it's called your peripheral.
Right, and vision. Then until you go that other thing, then fear comes in. There's a great commercial.
So sometimes you can't see it all.
Right. Sometimes it's better if you can't. sometimes it's better if you can't. There's a great commercial where these people are looking for this one plate, and the guy says, I can show you, and he's blind. And now you got to go left here. He can see with something. He says, here, stand here. And you can hear the whales. And it's the most amazing commercial.
I may have seen this.
You have to have. It's a blind guy giving someone directions. I'll show you. Okay, he's in the car. Consent. I wonder about all the things I don't use that I can't use because I don't take the time. You know, if I'm this in tune as I am, I wonder what I'm not using because I don't use it.
Right.
But that takes me too long. I'd never go away. That
happens to me. You know, I mean, call it synchronicity, or
right.
Like you said,
right.
You know, the fates. You talk about the fates. You know, there was always some reason why maybe you didn't get what you want, because what you were going to get was actually what you wanted, and what you thought you
there you go. But all of that talking is dangerous. You can't do all that, because if you're just starting that, you're screwed. You got to just show up.
Right.
You got to just show up. People say, well, can you? I don't. You want to act? I can teach anyone to act. I believe that. You just got to never stop trying. There was a guy who was really good, and he'll know who he is now. I can't care. He has Tourette's. Stop that, I said. And stop it. I can tell when someone's been emotionally molested and when that Tourette's is physical. It's a physical thing, and he's got away with it. Stop. Aren't you tired of going into markets and having the little girls run away because you're weird?
Yeah.
How can you go up? You know why you're a busboy? Because you're weird. You can't do that. And do you know, there was a real pretty girl, very pretty girl. All she did was, she was a Disney princess. She was gorgeous. And she used to point her toes. I said, you can't point your toes like that. You're not Cinderella today. Drop it. And they have to do an imaginary story. And I made her do an imaginary story about an orgy of Smurfs.
Right.
And she had to do it, and the whole class was breaking up. And detailed.
Right.
I said, dildos, everything. And she did it. And I went, there you go. But this boy had, I said, stop it. And she sat next to him. And I said, would you count how many times I used to call it whack-a-dack when he waxed. Did you call it how many times? I can't. I said, I'm ordering you to.
Oh, because he would shake her.
In class, right. And I say, stop it.
Yeah.
So anyway, at the end, stop. How many times? 8. He said 9. I had one from her. There. So by the time he made it to technique 2, he was paraphrasing Orpheus's ending and doing it the words, and then never came back.
Yeah. Because
I was able. God, he gave me what I wanted.
Yeah.
I believe, and this is maybe my naivete.
Do you feel like with the imagination?
Anything's possible. Anything. Right now, do not, under any circumstance, think of a red Mustang convertible. Do not. Yeah, see? Now but if we build on that,
right?
A red Mustang convertible with yellow polka dots. See, you keep adding to it. The best movie for students to understand how
I know that people figure that out in life. There's people that walk around living from fear.
Well, but there's also a thing that I don't understand. My type. Right. That scares me. I think I know what kind of a dog I'd like. I think no, I do. I saw it.
It's great.
No, it's a cross between a pug. Right. I don't want a pug. Their faces, I can't stand all that. And they have nasal. I want a cross between a pug and another one. I haven't found what that other one is, but it stands up a little higher and it's slightly, but not completely restricted. I know when I go to IHOP what I'd really like. I'd like a burger.
Yeah.
What I'm going to have is 2 eggs scrambled with cheese a beef patty, wheat toast, and a Arnold Palmer and water. Now, can I not have that burger? No, I can have it.
Right.
But I'm gonna bitch on Monday when it puts 3 pounds on me. I've got to say, okay, but what am I losing
So
what am I losing the pounds for?
Right.
I'm losing the pounds for that stack of jeans that are Dolce Gabbana and that I bought during the good days and I'm not throwing them away. No. I'm wearing these. Right. I'm living for those Dolce Gabbanas because I like what I look in. I like what I look in them. Right. I like how I feel in them.
Right. So the type.
I can have.
We know what you want for food. We know what you want to wear.
Yeah, but I don't want to have a type for
what's
human.
Your
I don't want a
type?
type for human being.
What's my type?
I'm not. I can't say that. I can't. Exactly what you have. That's what your type is.
I mean, there's been so many exceptions to the rule, right? Where somebody walks into the room
and you go bam,
and they go, all right, let's rewrite the whole thing.
Right. I will not.
So
I will not let my future be strategically and unchangeable be restricted by my past. Everything that I have survived, and I've survived a lot, I am the fruits of that right now. I am able to do this podcast, turning my back on everything I thought I believed. But because of, Jenny and Seth and Ryan, I have to be malleable. I have to be able to change. I have to be able to not be so rigid because it will constrict my future. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
My rigidity will cut me off from dreams.
Right.
Tennessee Williams dreamt. He never even wanted to be a playwright. You know that? He didn't want to be a playwright. He wanted to be a poet.
You think Tennessee Williams' words really captured everything that Tennessee Williams was doing?
I think they led.
Or does it open up?
I think they led us to everything Tennessee Williams felt. Not everything. Like he gets bashed by some of the gay press that he never wrote a gay play. He's a gay man. He never wrote a gay. He led more men to the challenges of their sexuality than any gay writer. Brick. He came up with the theory: the soul, the sellers, will always be buyers, and the buyers sellers. It's when you lose your market. We do that to women all the time. You've got to make it in your 30s or goodbye. Chevy Chase right now. He's old. He said, I can't get a job. He's funny. Yeah. What did he do? What did he lay down that didn't open up? I don't know if he did anything. I don't know him. I think he's a funny actor. I can think of 100 things he can do. I don't know who he is. I don't know how he conducted himself in his life that would close that off. I don't. Marlon Brando, a great actor. He closed himself off to a lot of things. I don't know if he really. I do not know if he even liked what he did. I don't know if he loved what he was dealt.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to. That's not his job. His job is to do it or not to do it. But something in the scrambled torture of what he lived created a family that wasn't so good.
Yeah.
I don't know The thing my mother and father, my grandmother, my grandfather taught me is how to be loved, how to love, how to be kind, and how to be responsible. Now, people, well, you aren't kind to people in class. Well, I am kind. I am kind. I've had an actor think that I'm in love with him. I'm not. I'm giving him, he said, I didn't turn him gay. I can't turn someone gay. I said, get the fuck out of my back door.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pretend like you don't have a gun on you. You got 10 minutes or I call the cops. You cry, you turned me gay. I didn't turn you gay.
Yeah.
There was a wonderful boy. I adored him. He was good in class. He struggled. But he was gorgeous. And he was perfect for one of the parts. I said, can I audition for it? Sure. And I gave it to him, of course. He was perfect.
Yeah.
The week after, can I talk to you? I said, sure. And he had tattoos everywhere. He had a model, good looks, gorgeous, but he ruined it with tattoos, except for diesel model. He said, I want to thank you for the opportunity in my life. I said, well, thank you. You did. You showed up. You did it.
Yeah.
The next week, he hung himself in the closet.
Wow.
Of his apartment. Was that my fault? Did I make him hungry for something he knew he could do? Was he better off not knowing he could do it? That wasn't my responsibility. You show up, you pay, we're good.
Yeah.
You show up, you pay, we're good.
Yeah.
You show up, you run out in your bill. I got a 3-ring binder of people who did that.
Yeah.
People who did plays that I directed them and then ran out on me, didn't pay.
Yeah.
Not fair. But that cliche thing, life isn't. It
Well,
really
that
is.
just goes to show the human spirit when you're talking about what type are you or what type do you audition for? Like, who knows? Who knows?
No,
who knows what lies within anybody?
And I've made this example 1,000 times. It bores me. The Graduate, they wanted a 6'2" blonde, blue-eyed guy. Like, look at that little schmuck that walked in there, and got in his whole career changed from that.
Yeah.
He opened the door to the character. My friend Joanne Linville read with him because Bancroft was out of the country.
Right.
She did the audition. She read. And he said, they called him back. He left. How could you leave? My friends and I, we live in our trailer. We're doing a play off Broadway.
Yeah.
I got to be there. They waited for me. I got to be, all that desperation,
right.
All that.
There seem to be a lot of actors that have a desperation to be a certain type.
But no, they have a desperation to be famous. They have a desperation to make money. They have a desperation for the outcome. The outcome will never feed you. What you have right now is everything.
That's a good quote. The outcome will never feed you. What you have right now is everything.
That's a brilliant man.
Arthur Mendoza.
Arthur Mendoza, News at 11.
Saturday. Santa Monica, Wednesday night, 7 to 10 at the Santa Monica Playhouse.
Yes. You
That's
can
what
audit for free.
What you have now is everything, and now's the time.
Now's the time. That'll be the hook.
Yeah.
That'll be the selling hook. If you think you have everything now, come Wednesday, 7 o'clock, you can have all the rest.
Not where you're going, it's where you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, I mean, today in films, I mean, and all the great films, you can't.
Okay, wait a minute. You already did it. All the great films.
All the ones that. All the ones that pull you, I'm saying you don't expect.
All that matters is all the ones you enjoyed.
Right. All the films I enjoyed.
You're American when you say the best.
I think we're getting caught up in the words.
Yeah, and you're getting caught up in
we gotta tap into the frequency feeling.
Yeah, you got it. Well, see there, you already got pretentious frequency feeling. I like easy words. Acting should be absolutely simplistic.
But about, I think what I was trying to say around the type is that in a way type doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter at all.
Because it's more interesting
It's,
when it's something you don't expect.
And when you lose a part, it wasn't yours. And
Right.
when you lost the part, I mean, have you ever seen the movie Mercy? You see the movie Mercy?
No.
You haven't?
I'm gonna have to.
With Kathy Bates? It's brilliant.
I probably saw with
Jimmy
the hammer?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know who they wrote it for?
Who?
Michelle Pfeiffer.
To be Kathy Bates?
There you go. There you go.
Wow.
It went a whole different place.
Could have been Kim Bates singer too.
Don't take me. I think that everybody has their vehicle.
Yeah.
I think that bestest, when people ask, what's your favorite? Shut up. My favorite, well, it's done nothing for you. You know?
When I never expected and it happens, that's what pulls me in. That's my word. That's what I enjoy. But I'm saying around type. Around type. Like, what is type?
It doesn't exist.
And then if you go to be, like, I see this a lot in Hollywood too. A lot of people are trying to be like somebody else. If they want someone else,
but all the schmooze. When I got my last good job in deep cover, we went and did the table read, and everybody there's the fruit, the M&Ms, all that stuff, and I got up and I went, and Laura said, "Hey, where are you going?" I said, "I'm going." I said, "I'm Laura." I said, "Nice to meet you." You were uncomfortable. I said, "No, I just read." "Would you like to do that scene with me?" I said, "Please." "Yes, that'd be great."
Yeah.
And he had it rewritten. And from that, we've been best friends ever since.
Great.
Yeah. There isn't. I watch a lot of Animal Planet, and they move the cows into the ones who can have cows and the ones who are sterile.
Yeah.
And those go to meat. They use them all, but those are hurting animals. We deserve better.
Yeah.
We should require better.
When you say that you're not, that you never, you say this quote, you never miss any part that you should have got. Do you think preparation has something to do with that?
No. There is nobody who could have taken Stanley Kowalski away from Marlon Brando. Nobody. And you know where he met him? They sent him to New Orleans.
Yeah.
Knocked on the door. "Oh, you're here." Tennessee thought he was and he went and fixed the leak. He said, "Well, thank you. How much are you?" "No, I'm here to." "Oh, you got the part." "All greasy, cleaning up this." I don't know if that's true story, but that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
He came in and he looked like a Pollock. He got all greasy and did it.
Yeah.
That's it. You got guys that put a little grease on here. You don't do that stuff.
Yeah.
You don't do that stuff. Grease doesn't make the character. I love these kids when they jump in, they got all their props and stuff. Good, get the props. We've been doing years and we got 3 chairs that move as a couch. I don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. It's not about the damn couch.
It's not.
One day, would I like to have a theater of my own in Hollywood? Maybe. I don't know. Would it restrict me? Probably. Then I got to pay the rent. I don't care how much I make it. I don't want to pay rent on something I'm not using.
Yeah.
I've got to be, we go, Ryan, who helps me by taking me to class, we go through the mantra, I don't need a car. I don't need a car. I don't need a car. I could get one and I would be stretched to the last dime. I do not need a car. I am learning right now in this point of my life, I am down to what I truly need so I can make the foundation clear for the next place, which is directing film and television and doing what I did at the theater, put my students in. They're going to work for cheap. We're going to work fast. I'm going to work 5-6 pages a day. The crews are going, what the hell? I can work fast.
Right.
Because I know these. No, don't do that. This. I know how each one of them work. I'll work fast. I'll turn their stuff. Clint Eastwood.
Right.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of extra.
There is a lot of waste. We're gonna turn the lights. Oh my God, turn them. How many scenes can we do in this light? I don't watch a movie. Well, the humor.
Right.
Am I cussing a lot? I probably am. I don't really like.
No, I just.
You get in a lotus position?
No, I don't.
You just sit in a chair.
I just sit in a chair.
Okay. I don't know this shit. I don't do it.
Let me get to the light.
I can't wait.
I open up my eyes, and what do I see? The first thing.
Your daughter.
No, I see flowers.
Oh.
And I see the flowers, and the flower. The funeral.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah. Something about funeral popped into my mind.
Okay.
And I'm sure you've been to a funeral before.
I have made, when my mother died and my father died, my sister-in-law was there for when my mother died, and they said, "Okay, Henry, got to do it." I can't. I said, "Give me the card." I picked up the casket. I did the flowers.
Yeah.
And I had to make another casket because I didn't want it. I'm a florist.
Right.
You have one from the wake, and then give me a fresh one for that. I said, I want that. My mother died. My grandmother died, and they could never say, you know what? We never. The nurses every day said, "What are you? I'm going to throw up." No, I'll take them.
Yeah.
And so you made the nurses happy by giving them the flowers that, they got fresh flowers all the time.
But my feeling, like when I've been at a funeral, and with the flowers, my perspective is you're more present than normal, because a lot of times in life you have all this crap around you, like just stuff. It doesn't mean a whole lot, but let me get to the point.
It takes you a while, so I'll let you wait.
Yeah, let me get to the point. So
I'm gonna wait.
So the flowers just made me realize that a lot of this stuff is bullshit. Like you're saying, like, but it's not about the lights. It's not about this. It's not about that. But it's about that. It's about that connection. It's about that connection that happens with your imagination that you bring into the acting, where people forget about what's around.
My favorite movie, the Name movie, which I don't know the name of, I do it wrong. It was in an Italian place.
Right.
I can't remember one hue of light, except they were always up. There was the time when they were dancing. It doesn't matter.
Right.
The king of this industry is the editor. Give him some stuff that you can work with.
Right.
Tell me the movie. Tell me the story. I could get acting out of a prune if I needed to.
So a lot of times, all this stuff is little stuff. When you get into the core of acting, you don't even think about all the other stuff.
No.
And people forget about all the other stuff.
Did you see the movie Amadeus?
Yeah.
You remember the hue of the light in that?
No.
Then shut up. See?
My name's Hugh.
No, but you're also the hue of the light. Yeah. I can't.
So we put a lot of weight on things.
We put a lot of weight. You see I've got a bunch of dishes. I love my mother with all my life.
And we carry a lot of weight, like you were talking about the rocket ships and the boosters flying off. A lot of people don't know how to let go of the boosters.
Yeah, well,
to get the new boosters.
Well, they do it at NASA, or how many billions of dollars to go sinking.
And people die.
You must consider death.
Yeah. If
you don't let those go. And your inability.
If you don't die, like technically,
yeah,
you become dead.
Because you don't go to your mother's grave. What am I going to go for? She's dead. Take flowers so other people can see that I take flowers at my mother's grave. My mother got flowers. My mother got flowers all the time.
Well, what happens on a flower or a plant when you cut off the dead leaves?
Well, it usually grows back if you know how to do it.
Right.
but it's all those see, this is an activity but no, I am, and to this day, I go, you know, I took, we took some flowers to his mom, and we went down to the flower market, and I said, what do you think? He goes, yeah, all right. He doesn't know how to say, those are beautiful. I said, you know what? You got to jump up and down a little more the next time I bust my ass for two beautiful arrangements for your girlfriend and your mom.
Right.
He goes, oh, no, but he's not used to excitement. He doesn't know what to do with excitement unless he's run something under the time he used to run it.
Right.
He doesn't know how to express himself other than running.
I remember when I first came to California, kind of like came in my 20s, and I met this photographer, and he had a studio at the bottom of Capitol Records. His name was Buddy Rosenberg. And Buddy Rosenberg, I would come and see him all the time. I just paid him for photography, but I'd come and stop by and visit him, and it was like I would just visit him every week, and he would say, "Hey, you got to go find an excuse to get your pictures, you know, out, you know, to these people." And he would give me like these little tips. So I started delivering flowers, and I used to deliver flowers to the Tonight Show, with like Jay Leno. Like I would bring the flowers for Lauren Bacall. I'd bring the flowers for all the celebrities, and I would deliver them to the Tonight Show. So every time I went to NBC, I would drop pictures off at the gate and different casting people, and I would get auditions. But I would drop them off like regularly as I would deliver the flowers. So it was kind of funny because he gave me like
but
these
see,
little insights.
that's a trick for you.
Yeah.
It's not for anyone else.
Yeah.
That's a trick for you because something about your face and the chemistry of you in those pictures. See, I dropped off. We found out where Robert Downey Jr. lived.
Yeah.
And I am doing the activity.
Right.
In my way, they're going to throw in the trash.
Right.
So now I've got to go around. I've got Mark Ruffalo, who worked there. I just saw them. I was in the hospital. I watched. Well, there he is. So I've called Mark. See if he can help me. I wrote this movie. Robert Downey says he, you know, doesn't want to do those super say wants to do character. He did a movie that was. Did you see The Judge?
I was just busy thinking about how to get to Robert Downey's figure because I met somebody that knows.
Well, please help me. If I could just have a meal with him.
The Judge.
Yes, amazing. If you can't remember it, you didn't see it. He's monumental.
No, I didn't see it.
You got to see it. It's monumental. Two actors at the top of their game. He's amazing in it. Yeah. Have you ever seen Chaplin?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
You saw it. Jesus. Yeah. This is me being frustrated with an actor sitting in my presence.
I saw The Judge.
Wasn't he amazing?
People.
That when he told that wife, you know what? Take it, eat it. I'm out. It just, and the car was so right for him. It was just so right. Everything about that movie was perfect. What are you laughing at?
Then I saw him in Gratitude Cafe. But he's a brilliant actor.
Yeah, well, I'll get him. I want to meet him for lunch. I just want to meet him for lunch. I want to sit down with him for a couple of hours, or an hour. I want to meet him, and I wrote this for him. He would storm the rings. He's going to play a rich drag queen, one of the richest drag queens in New Orleans. We got to put the karma out. We got to get him to meet me.
I think what happened to me when I first got to Hollywood, it was more of an education. You know, like I bumped into people.
Yeah, but you also
out of the goodness of their heart.
Yeah, but you do stupid things when you're young. You can't. You know, it's like that was a dumb thing to go to Robert Downey. Like I was never saying, here, we're going to hand this right to him. You know, I think of Lawrence.
Yeah, you're naive.
I think my friend Lawrence Fishburne. What are you throwing away? They throw these scripts at me.
Right.
And he threw them all away. I went, oh, there's somebody's heart. Oh well.
Right.
It's my heart. 10 years of my heart.
Yeah.
And if I'm supposed to meet Robert Downey Jr., I was, you know, I wrote it for Jason Momoa, who's now busy for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And I wrote it, and I hope to do Orifice Descending with him on Broadway. He's going to let me direct it.
So finishing up on Tennessee Williams, I mean, what do you feel? Let's think about the new people watching that just came to Hollywood. What are some insights that a new actor could get from Tennessee Williams?
in a time when you are very permissive in sex and everything can be had and is, you will see a time in a class of our world where restriction is paralyzing, where a class system can kill a spirit. And I don't know, I like things for a long time, they get bored and I go through them. But I wonder when I'm going to be tired of it. Now, I know I can't go see Streetcar. I know I can't go see plays of his in Neighborhood Playhouse or I get rude. What were you thinking? That kind of thing.
Right.
I can't. And I think it is better for me. No, it's not. It's rude. I just can't go. But I love his work. And it rings like, do you have a favorite song from your past?
Yeah.
Okay. He's like a favorite song of my past, but it still works in my future.
Right.
What would you say to people who are trying to take on a role like family or trying to do a Tennessee play now?
Submerge yourself in the South. Submerge yourself, and you have it. There are people right now burning torches in white supremacy. Figure out their neuroses. Figure out how they can go to church and still hate black people. Figure that out. Keep your opinion out of it. And don't omit the word nigger in his place, because that was the time. It wasn't supposed to offend. Now it does. It's like, it's none of my business, but I don't understand how you do play like Cat on a Hot Tin Roof and do it with a black cast. That's like, what the hell? Anybody can do it. They did. And it changes the whole, black people were the whipping, and still are, the whipping post for that society. You have to orchestrate it. You have to make it see. You have to make it as real and as ugly as it was. White people, that sort of white people, are scared to death that there will ever be another Obama. Somehow it got past them, but they're never going to let that happen again. And he was one of the best presidents of our normal times. Amazing. And won't get credit for shit. Now they want him back. He was amazing. Submerge yourself in the bigotry. Submerge yourself in the narrowness of the Southern mind. Not all Southern mind, but that particular racist Southern mind. Mm-hmm. I watched those stupid movies, those TV shows, Say Yes to the Dress. Those girls and their mamas and their, all that stuff. You go, what the hell? What planet do these people live on? There is a lot of bigotry, right? We have no reason in this country to have saluting statues of Southern generals. They lost. And they don't understand why black people want it down. Those men believed in slavery. They believed in slavery. That's all. That's all we got. That flag, those generals believed in slavery. That's all. Big mistake, huge mistake. Get it down, tear them down. We should not be allowed that flag. That flag was a racist emblem. Yet, the football players who want to take a knee People have to understand why they're taking a knee. They're taking a knee in deliberate reverence to the mistreating of black men in this country, to the men how many are incarcerated? You don't see a little Greta Johnson and her husband getting incarcerated. No, they're black people. Until we have that no color vision, and we are given the right to protest. They aren't hurting anybody, and they are not doing it against the armed forces. And armed forces say, no, we know it's not about us. That's just an excuse. That's just an excuse for an uneducated, not resourceful man to run this country. It's a deflect. It's a quick deflect. Oh, listen, I'm going to go to Ohio where I want. What are you doing? What are you doing? Secret Service, man, all that money. Yeah. And then we hold, Florida, he makes all the money, from people staying there. When are people going to wake up?
How do you recommend removing yourself from the equation when doing research into things like this, when trying to figure out these characters?
You don't remove yourself. You give yourself all the passion. You want, I got to do this. I want to find this. You give yourself the ambition and the power and the desire. And you can't keep your, it's like there's a play that I find disgusting, and it's called Short Eyes. It's about the prison system. And there's a white guy in it who rapes this little girl. And they've isolated him because the inmates are going to tear him limb from limb. Because in the prison system, everybody has their own deal. You stole, you fought, you almost, But when it comes to child molesters, you're short eyes. And they call because the kids are short. Got a short eye. I don't know. I think it's important for us as artists to understand how did they do that. I think a great chef is someone who can taste something and know every ingredient in it. I want to know the ingredients that made that man. And if somebody in that audience has one child pornography book, maybe he'll throw it away because I made him think of something. But you got to I don't know how you do it. I mean, I see these little girls out in their little dresses. How does someone look at that little girl and go, I want a piece of that? It's like, I can't understand it. But I'm going to understand it like hell if I'm going to direct the play, if I'm going to do that part. I don't want to do the part. I want it to be a white guy. It's supposed to be a white guy. And the guy's Puerto Rican. The guys are all, Latinos in the jail.
There's so many shows and films now with Netflix and Hulu, and what you're talking about right now is in a lot of these dramas that are on TV.
So, I mean, we've got right now.
How can you be in the part if you can't understand that?
Right now, I don't know what's going to happen, but we're in the middle of half of the country wanting to stop a Supreme Court justice from being approved. He raped a girl. And then how many people we got to bring in?
Yeah.
Oh, he really raped her. I mean, what are we doing? She said he was, that's it, that's done.
Right.
But he wants him because this guy thinks a president should never be prosecuted. The little Donnie Dark is looking after his own ass again. I just don't know. I'm so disgusted. I just don't even know when it's going to stop. When do we get to that? Oh, no, I can't get any further. Yeah, I just did.
So art and acting and this craft that we have
must be a reflection of that.
So we can understand it, but by us actually living it out and putting it out there, it's people face it.
Creating it as an art, not living it, because I don't want you to live it. It's like people who, there's some actors who are really stupid who do heroin because they want to know what it's like. You don't have to, you do heroin, you're stupid. Yeah. You don't get fucked up to do the part. All those actors on
Well,
on Columbus Circle.
There's a healing aspect.
Yeah.
To doing your craft, doing your art, acting. I'm just saying there's a
Right.
healing impact to the people that are watching and to.
It's a story.
Yeah.
You're a vehicle for a story.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah. You aren't in the story.
Yeah.
You're a vehicle of the story.
Yeah.
You shouldn't go, oh my God, I'm so messed up, you know.
Yeah.
When I did restoration, I didn't have a desire when I went home to wear a jacket that weighed 85 pounds. I wanted it off. I didn't have a desire to have long hair when I did the Scottish play. I didn't, you know, it's separate. You know, acting is separate. You know, you're going to have some things that are going to move you.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't disrupt your life at all. It shouldn't. Separate. You know, you don't go as a busboy, go home, boy, I want to bust more. You know, it's separate. And you have to have a technique of getting yourself onto that platform. And that's what I teach. Stella Adler, the technique of acting. One by one by one, block by block by block. And when you get to the middle of the process, you go, oh, this is how this goes, right? This is how this works. You know, you're kind of like blind up until a third of it through, and you go, oh my God, this is where it goes. And then you get excited.
Okay. So you teach every Wednesday?
Every Wednesday, 7 o'clock.
Santa Monica.
I teach an 11-week cycle, 11 weeks, off for 2 weeks, 11 weeks. So I teach 4 quarters a year. My number's on that flyer. You just call and I'll answer any questions you have.
Yeah, we'll put the link up here too.
Great, please.
And it's 7 to 10 every Wednesday.
7 to 10 every Wednesday.
11 weeks.
11 weeks.
Cycle.
Right.
And then I know people also contact you for personal.
Yeah, I'm private coach. I work with people privately.
And if somebody wants you to direct or be part of the production, they can reach out to you.
I will dramaturge and give them my advice.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I just want to say thank you for taking the time out.
I never thought I would say this, but I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your knowledge and your history and your experience is very valuable, I think, for anybody that's out there that is looking to get into the craft or people that have already been in the craft. I think it's also, I think it's a reminder too, you know, the fundamentals that a lot of times people miss, you know, they go down the path.
Yeah, an actress was working on Streetcar Named Desire, and then I put her in an exercise. She said, I can't do this. Remember, it's hard. I said, yeah, you got to go back. That's why when you're part of ABT, American Ballet Theater, they have to do bar. They warm up.
Yeah.
If they did those jumps, they'd rip their crutches out.
Right.
They can't do it with it. It's like, you know.
Yeah.
A famous philosopher said, "Were the theater a tightrope where no amateur would dare tread?"
Yeah.
But you can memorize lines, you can say words, and be pretty, and you're an actor. You can join SAG, you're an actor. There are a lot of actors who make a whole lot of money, what I don't consider Screen Actors Guild members, as an authenticity. But that's none of my business.
Right.
I'm just there to train the ones that want to be good or better. Well, this was fun. I never thought I'd say that, but this was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, you guys are watching, you know, feel free to write a comment. We'd love to hear your feedback, even though we don't care. But
I care.
No, we like your feedback. What we're saying is, say anything you want to say.
Or actually, if you have any questions.
Yeah, questions would be great.
Questions would be real great.
So if you guys have a questions, you know, write a question down below. There's no bad question.
No bad question.
Because there's always other people that can learn from those questions. So if you have a question,
and
spit it out there.
I'll never say shut up. Don't ask that. No, I won't. I'll explain it.
And sometimes it's a question other people are afraid to ask.
All the time.
Yeah.
Actors sit in class silent because they just don't want to be stupid.
Right.
There's nothing more stupid than not asking a question. Nothing.
Yeah. So tune in again on Arthur's page, and if you're an actor that wants to come out and audit the class, it's Wednesday, 7 to 10 at the Santa Monica Playhouse. You can reach out to the number, the website, send an email, send a private message on Facebook, And you guys have an amazing Saturday.
Yes.
And thanks again, Arthur Mendoza.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes. So you guys have a good one. We'll see you again soon. And on the right hand side, the other side.
The other right. Brian, was that good?